that's the thing about the ending, right? I think you're just going to have to remember with Jordan Peele movies that he's not going to go for the perfect visual Hollywood ending. He's going to give you the ending he needs to make his point.
Honestly, hearing that makes a lot of sense now. The chews them up, spits them out, like all that is exactly probably what this movie's about.
And when I was saying just a minute ago, Emerald being pulled back from the allure of fame, it's like it's more than he just saved her from the alien, but it's like a good brother keeping her away from
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
No, that makes perfect sense. I love this movie now.
It's the Remedial Field Class Podcast. Travis and George and Dan. Through the Remedial Field Class Podcast. Take your seat. It's time to begin.
Welcome back to the Remedial Film Class Podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm Travis.
And I'm George.
Hey, George, I've got another favor to ask. I know that I ask a lot of favors of you, but could you please attend this live show I'm going to try out in the desert? I think it's going to go great. I'm going to have my family there. We're going to have children there. We might dress them up in costume. I'll have a horsey. Everybody loves a horsey. Also, you might get eaten by an alien. How you doing, George?
Also, you might get eaten by an alien.
And spit back out in a tremendous fashion.
I'm doing okay, man.
Travis, how's it
Yes, sir.
going on the Nope farm for you?
It's going great. I'm on my fourth horse.
Fantastic. We
Wow.
watched Jordan Peele's
Sacrificial.
Nope. And obviously these two hadn't seen it before. And I will just warn you right away, you shouldn't have even listened to that part of the intro if you haven't seen the movie Nope. Go watch it. I'm sure it's streaming on some service. And then
Peacock.
jump right back in. Yeah, it's on the cock. It's on
It's on
Peacock.
Peacock.
It's on the gack.
It's on Peacock.
So check it out. Jordan Peele's Nope from last year, 2022. I'm just going to preface this episode by saying it's probably the scariest movie I've seen since Us, which has really grown in my memory as really scary and also good. And I think at some point I'm going to apologize for making fun of it earlier in the show.
I'm a fan of the first half of that movie.
I think the
Yeah.
second half is brilliant, but I didn't realize it till later. And
Okay.
I blame my own dumb brain. But I think that was by design. But guys, we're not talking about Us. We're
Yes.
talking about
Yeah,
Nope.
I've never seen Us, so
Mm.
Ooh. We'll get there.
Yeah, we should probably give you the trifecta of Peele movies, and that way you can
okay.
compare the three. Because now seeing this, I have seen all three.
So this guy Peele, Jordan Peele,
Jordan Peele.
has only done 3 movies.
Well, he's done 4. One of them, I don't know if he counted as a director. It was called Keanu and was about a pet cat that gets kidnapped. It was a Key and Peele movie.
Okay.
So, but you're familiar with Key and Peele.
Vaguely, isn't
He's
that
the-
like a comedy sketch
Yeah.
Yes.
crew kind of thing?
You know the Aaron bit?
Yes.
All right, so Jordan Peele is the one who says present at the end. He says his name. And he's like, present.
So the show Key and Peele
Oh, yeah, that's funny,
was
yeah,
Keegan
yeah.
Michael Key
I forgot
and
about
Jordan
that.
Peele. They were both Mad TV alum
Yes.
Okay.
and then had gone together and done like probably the funniest sketch show of that era. Like just every sketch, just winners and winners and winners. Wonderful show.
Yes.
And Keegan has stayed on this path of doing comedy, some drama, but mostly comedy. And Jordan Peele was like, hey, I'm going to go make the scariest horror movies anybody's making right now.
Okay, that's really cool. Yeah, I did not know that. I knew Key and Peele, like I knew they were funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like we got this guy that works for us. His last name is Hinkle.
Oh,
Okay.
there you go.
And do you know the
Hingle
like the-
McRingleberry?
Yes, Hinkle McCrinkleberry. We call him Hinkle McCrinkleberry because the football players' names, like
Yes.
when they come up on the screen and they say their names, like
Yes.
Key and Peele have like It's amazing.
The only thing funnier than them doing that is bad lip sync.
Bad lip reading.
Bad lip reading,
Yeah.
which is pretty much brilliant as well.
So okay, so that's cool. So that's the same Peele.
Yes.
That's the same
Interesting.
Peele that made this movie, and this movie is not funny, not in the least. Okay, there's
No.
a couple
It's
of
the,
good bits.
it's the
but
funniest of the three.
It's the least.
It's definitely the funniest of the three.
It's something. They're all something. Man.
All right,
Shoot,
so
we gotta
this
just watch all these movies. Anyway, continue.
I was gonna say, like, this is a heck of a movie. I want to see the other two, like, for sure.
Some would say that this is the weakest of the three.
It is.
So this is the latest one that he did. He did two
This
prior.
is the most
Yep.
recent, yeah.
Okay, cool.
First one is the one that kind of put him on the map. And everybody's like, oh, okay, this guy
Okay,
has a thing.
Yeah,
He
this
has a
guy's not
style.
being funny at all. We are all not happy about how not funny this man is right now.
Yeah.
it was a poltergeist situation. It's like, oh, let's go take our
Kind
kids to
of.
this funny movie.
There's a little bit
No.
of poltergeist in this movie too.
A little bit.
The
Smidge.
trailer didn't ever come off as funny. So people who went to see it were not going to see funny.
Yeah, it was more like morbid curiosity. Like, okay, we're doing scary, but we got the funny guy doing scary. Like, how scary is it gonna be? And then they're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is real
Yeah,
good.
no, it's in
yeah,
your face.
kind of like this can't be good, and then you watch it and you're like, damn.
Yeah, it's like when you make E.T. and then you make Poltergeist.
That's
and-
exactly what I just said. Shut up. All right.
But yeah, so this movie, Nope, comes out. The posters and stuff, the previews were all very cryptic. They didn't tell you what you were about to see. And I intentionally went in blind, like a person does. And I remember the cover of the movie. I think I bought it before I watched it, if I remember right. And the cover of the movie is him kind of looking up. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. What's up there? So that worked on me to get the curiosity going. But yeesh, guys.
Kind of made you want to look up too.
Well, and then, guys, the opening of this movie is not about aliens at all.
No.
And I was just like,
No.
oh, this beginning is phenomenal.
Can I just say that's the movie I wanted to watch? And I was mad at the end that I didn't get more of that.
I mean, how much
story,
more
'cause
face eating and head bludgeoning did you
I don't
need?
know. But it was just, what was the movie we watched where, when we watched Road Games. Remember
Yeah.
I said the opening scene in Road Games, I wish the whole movie had that ambiance and that feeling from the hotel room where he was, doing his thing. It was very just film noir.
the opening scene.
She's
just
playing guitar naked, and he comes up
Okay.
behind her with a guitar string, and
But it's like
Yeah,
it's
okay.
shot in shadows and it's very
Yeah.
artistic. And then the
Mhm.
rest of the movie's kind of like watching Vacation.
Yeah.
So I was like, when I was watching this opening, it was so eerie.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of, like, if they ever remade Cujo, I would love Jordan Peele to make Cujo because of the feel that he gave that scene without saying a word
Yeah.
and setting the tone. And it was almost like it was a totally different tone than the rest of the movie for me. I know the commentary, what they were saying, you can't control this and that and, natural world and
Yeah.
all that crap. But I was just watching that and I'm like, that story is so good and so basic. But
Yeah.
I want to watch that movie.
Props to the monkey actor. It was really
I think it
good.
was CGI.
I know. I know that.
he would have been really good with a razor blade, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah, where was Donald
I wonder
Pleasance?
if he could talk to bugs. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just he ripped his birthday hat off at just the right time. He had like the whole monkey scratching his head. Like all the mannerisms were there. It's great monkey actor.
Did they get a what's his name to do that?
The guy who plays Gollum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Andy Serkis, was he the chimp in this movie?
I hope so. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
No, it was a CGI chimp, everybody.
Yeah, but it could have been a motion cap.
It could have been. That
Hmm.
would be cool. We should look into that and see if it was what it was.
Well, it could have been any of those guys that did the Planet of the Apes movies because they had like 6 or 7 guys that were, pretty damn good at it. So I'm going to look it up and see. I don't think it was Andy Serkis, but it has to be one of those guys. Anyway, so yeah, that set the tone, definitely.
That and that damn shoe. And I don't know why that shoe creeps me out so much. It's so like in the background that if either of you said what shoe,
I saw the shoe.
I wouldn't be
immediately.
surprised.
I saw the shoe, but my eye kept going right to the later found out it was a Mylar balloon, but it looked like a skull
It did.
laying on the
It
floor.
did
And I'm
look
like,
like
he
a
took that
skull
woman's
with the
head off.
with the face ripped off of it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then when they recap the scene and they show you from the beginning, you can tell it's a balloon that fell.
Right.
But the whole time I'm thinking it was a skull, so I didn't miss the shoe, but I was more focused on the head.
Well, and I think there's.
I don't even know. Like, did they? Sorry. Did they ever pay off the shoe?
Yeah, it's hanging on his wall in that back room.
No. I get that, but like, why was the shoe balanced like that?
I think they just wanted to call it back. The fact that I think that's when you realize that he was the kid in the room.
But
That's
that
it. That's all the
shoe-
shoe's for. But
But
the
the
way
shoe
it's sitting
defies
there.
physics in the way that
Yeah.
it hangs
Yeah.
there in such a way that it's like it makes me uncomfortable to think about now. And I've seen the movie twice,
Yeah.
and
Like,
I can't
I
explain it. This movie gets into my.
Does it represent
"Ugh."
like frozen, like a moment frozen in time? Because he does when he's giving them the tour. He says 6 minutes and 13 seconds. Like he was so specific. 6 minutes and 13 seconds of chaos.
Yes. No, what I thought was that maybe the extraterrestrial, some kind of phenomenon like that was happening, which is like what was setting the monkey off. But apparently
Nothing.
not.
No, I don't
So-
think that the two are connected. I think,
Right.
Yeah.
So that in the movie it never links the two events. I don't think.
And I've
So
looked
that
around.
kind of
I've read quite a
kinda
bit
confused
online
me.
about the shoe, and I've never found anyone who could give me a satisfactory answer.
Hmm.
But if I were to take a stab at it, and I'm not, the thing about this movie, it is so kind of ethereal in its presentation that there are times that I'm going to tell you things that I feel, but I can't prove. And this is one of those times. I get the impression that the shoe standing up on its end is like fucked up and shouldn't have happened, right? It defies physics. It should make you feel uncomfortable. But it's hard to pay attention to this thing, this phenomena that's occurring because of the spectacle of this violence, right? Like the violence keeps pulling your eye away, and you look back, you're like, ooh, shoe. Mundane, but like not violence. Like you can't stop looking at the spectacle, and I think that's going to be tying you in back to the biblical verse that starts the movie, right? That I will cast abominable filth upon you, make you vile, and make you a spectacle, right? And this ongoing thing with the theme of like horrifying spectacle contrasted with these desires for fame and power. So that's about the best I've got. But I haven't seen anything better online, so there.
Okay. It was nice to see Glenn as a little boy.
Yes.
That was cool. Or as he's called in this movie, Jupe. Dan, did you recognize him from anything else?
No, but is he on Community? Because if you recognize him that quick.
Do you really not recognize Jupe from anything else?
He's never seen it.
No, I don't.
He doesn't watch it.
I love sitting in the chair that you normally sit in.
So what is he Glenn on? Oh, is he on your show?
He's on The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead, not Community.
He is-
the other
He's
show.
one of the biggest characters on the show.
He is, when he met his maker on that show, after that, everyone stopped watching.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Huh.
He was one of the 2 Negan fatalities, where Negan actually kind of plays the role of the chimp in this movie.
Yes.
And instead of getting shot in the head right before he kills Glenn or Jupe, he just fucking bashes his head in with a baseball bat.
Oh, wow. Okay. I remember the because at the time my coworkers were into the show, and I remember there was the big cliffhanger where he bashed someone's head in, but we didn't know whose. Was that Glenn?
Yes.
Spoiler
Yes.
alert for a 10-year-old show.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's a 10-year-old show. You can't spoiler alert it. And Abraham as well. They were
Interesting.
both
Giving
casualties.
it out there. It is a Planet of the Apes
Actor?
mocap actor. Yes.
Nice.
Terry Notary.
Is
Terry-
it Terry or no Terry?
Terry Notary. That's his name.
Which is it?
Notary? Notary. Terry Notary. It's like
Is
Sherry
it,
O'Terry.
is it is it Terry or no Terry?
I'm just saying. It's spelled
Who's on
Notary.
first?
I just don't know which ape he played. But he was also in Kong Skull Island. So he's a mocap guy.
Cool.
And The Hobbit.
Well, he did an excellent job convincing me not to trust that ape anywhere near me. Yikes. Did you guys notice that the applause sign continues to flash through that entire scene?
Yes.
Yes.
That's so fucked up.
Yes.
So good. Ugh. This whole movie is just boo. I don't know. But you
I
can't
like
look
his,
away, right?
His good friend, the female actor that
Mhm.
also survived that
Oh, God.
when
I love when her veil blew up. And
exactly
you could
when the
see
wind
her lips
takes
were gone.
Yeah, when the wind takes her veil up and you see her face. It's
You
like,
know,
oof.
And there must have been something in the trailer that indicated that that was going to be a thing, right? I don't remember if it showed her with the veil down or what, but I knew from the first time I watched it, from the back, when they first show that event, you can see her veil blowing around from the back. And I remember focusing on that veil thinking, oh, I hope they don't show what's under that veil.
Well, it's funny. Back then, when that trailer came out, people were speculating because it's Jordan Peele. It's kind of like Shyamalan. Like everybody just assumes it's going to be twisty. And they're thinking, oh, what are they doing? Cloning humans with horses? Is she a horsewoman? Like they were all saying these different things, and it's like, okay, you guys were way off.
Yeah, they weren't even
'Cause-
close.
Yeah,
Wow.
I purposely didn't go see it because I wasn't sure what it was going to be, and I'd already had a bad taste in my mouth from Us, so I was like, all right, I'll just wait till it comes out on regular television. I'll watch it, and then I just never did.
How about Jupe's jacket when he came out for the show? Did you notice
It's good stuff.
the back of it?
No, what was on the back?
You didn't notice the saucer on the back of his jacket
No.
with a beam coming out of the bottom of it? Like it was
That's
all
awesome.
it was all jeweled, like it was like Western style,
Right.
but like there's like a right between his shoulder blades. There's a
Well, if you think about it, like when OJ's father died,
yeah.
the alien already the creature was already existed, right?
I think we can call it an alien.
Okay.
It's an extraterrestrial animal,
Animal.
right?
It's like a kaiju. It's like
It's an alien.
It's a creature
Sure.
that disguises itself as, I don't know if that's a spoiler alert. Do we just go there? Yes.
I mean,
It's
you
organic.
You should
Let's
have
put it that way.
watched this movie
Yeah.
before listening to this podcast.
It's organic. So, because Otis was dealing with Jupe before his death, which means Jupe had already given horses to those aliens. Because when the things fell out of the sky, it was coins and keychains and necklaces and stuff, right?
Yeah, it had already eaten people.
yes.
So it had already eaten a crowd or two. Or three.
Humans. It had eaten humans. I don't
It
know
had
that we have any indication that he'd like thrown a party and got a bunch of people eaten like you would later.
Well, the only reason I say that is because towards the end, when Emerald is looking to unleash the Bob's Big Boy balloon, which I was not a fan of, but okay, kind of Batmanish. Well, he took my balloons.
Lucky it didn't get shot down on the way up by an F-22.
She's right.
That's true.
She starts, pushing her hands through the dirt to grab coins for the photo machine,
Yes.
and there's just coins all over the place,
Yes.
which implies that thing had already eaten and dropped coins, right?
Well,
that
those
crowd.
coins could have come out of the wishing well thing. too. I mean, there's a lot of places those coins could have come from.
Okay. It just, to me, it seemed like there's a lot of foreshadowing in this movie, and they foreshadowed the coins by having the coin be in the evidence bag, and that's what went through his father's head. So
It's
to
not
me,
an evidence bag.
whatever the
but
bag,
yes.
the belongings
It was
bag,
the biohazard.
the biohazard
bag.
belongings bag. Like, oh, here's all your dad's belongings, including the coin that went through his.
While we're talking
Yeah.
about the dad, shout out to Keith David, friend of the show.
Yes.
George, do you remember him from The Thing?
No.
He's the guy at the end with Kurt Russell, where they're both like, "You're probably the
Yeah.
thing. Let's
Yeah,
drink
they
to
both
it."
think they're infected.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's
That's-
also
in They Live.
yeah, which is one that we'll have to watch here soon.
Yes. He's been around. Oh, and he's also, how'd you get the beans above the Franks?
I never would have recognized him from that.
Yeah, he's the dad.
He's so good, man.
Something about Mary.
Yeah, there's
He is
something
the
about Mary.
most-
above the Franks?
He is the most like pretentious Hollywood actor personality in interviews, and then he's in all these wacky roles. I love it. He's always like,
Yeah.
He's got like a scarf and yes, my method for acting, and then he, how'd you get the big I love it. He's just,
What's with you, son?
he's
How'd
so
you get the beans
cool.
above Frank? Yeah, so good.
Oh shit! Now I was reading an article because I this is a complex enough movie that I actually had to do some outside reading to make sure that I wasn't completely off base. And something I had never considered. This was an article, just if anybody wants to read, on Vox, like a Nope review and explainer kind of thing. What I'd never caught on to before in my previous watchings was that Jupe, when he goes to talk about the incident, never actually discusses the incident. He
No.
only discusses the SNL version
Yeah.
of the
Yes.
incident.
Corky Romano.
And then when it
Chris Kattan.
Yeah, do you know who Chris Kattan is? Because if you don't, you need to have the visual image of him to understand how perfectly cast he would be as that murderous
He used to play a chimp named Poppers on SNL. And he actually did a skit with The Rock, and if you have never seen it, you have to freaking see it.
Okay.
That
he
might
plays
be a
a-
pause the show and show it to George real quick moment.
Like right now.
Yeah, like right now.
Can you go
Okay.
on there, or you want to do it on your phone?
Just pull it. He
I
can pull
just-
it up real quick.
Just do-
How should I search for
Just
this?
do Poppers. I think it was the name of the monkey. Poppers and The Rock, SNL. It should come up.
Peepers. It was Mr. Peepers.
Peepers, not Poppers. Peepers.
Mr. Peepers and Papa Peepers?
That would do.
All I know is he starts humping The Rock, and I'm all over. I'm all done. How do they keep a straight face? For my question.
So that's Chris Kattan. Not the big muscly one. That's The Rock. The littler guy.
Yeah, duh.
It's hard to tell them
Little.
apart when they're both going full Amazonian, whatever they were.
Sure, I guess, yeah.
So you can see why mentioning that guy as being cast as the murderous chimp in the SNL version of the murder that happened, the calamity that happened on the set of that.
Yes.
You can see why it's such a perfect callback for this movie. How interesting that Jupe, clearly from the way that you see him, flash back to the incident multiple times, like he
Yeah.
hasn't yet dealt with his trauma, and yet he still manages to like commercialize the incident, not
Yeah.
just through the family show and the, hey, you know me from that show where that monkey killed all those people, but also his like creepy hidden
Museum.
bat cave area that he rented out for a couple to spend the night in for whatever reason. Ugh.
Yeah, it was weird.
So weird.
It's crazy that he thought of making that scene into an SNL skit. Like, that's a really weird thing to think of.
Knowing Peele, he probably came up with that scene with Gordy from watching Chris Kattan on SNL.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, wouldn't it be crazy if somebody was, because I remember in the late 90s, early 2000s when that woman had the 911 call where the other woman's pet chimpanzee just basically ripped
Chewed
her
her
face.
face
face
off.
off?
Right? Ooh.
That was in the 2000s.
Yeah, so it was like that's probably back when Catan was doing this. So early 2000.
Yeah.
So that was a big.
It's really specific.
But remember,
Yeah.
Jordan Peele comes
The
from
way Jupiter remembers it.
the
like, it's
the Mad TV background, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
So
yes.
it all plays into like his own life experience mixed with awful real life incidents of nature kind of biting back. But then, yeah, the Catan reference so perfect. I don't know, man.
Well, not only it's so perfect that when Jupe was describing the skit, I thought it might be an actual skit. Like, not
Right.
just the characters, but the skit he was describing, I thought might have been a real SNL skit.
I think I would love to ask Jordan Peele this, but I think he kind of based Jupe a little bit on Carl Denham from King Kong. Just almost like a showman that's just after the big buck
Yeah.
and using, a situation to capitalize. Like he's
Yes.
just capitalizing on it. And then obviously gets bit in the ass because he, unlike OJ, who doesn't make eye contact, that's his whole thing. He's even before he realizes not to look at the creature, he's very introvert. So he doesn't really make eye contact anyway, even before he realizes that it's an animal thing. Where Jupe, on the other hand, because he witnessed that situation and then felt that this chimpanzee didn't attack him because he made eye contact, that's what he does. He puts himself out there, this sacrificial horse, to bring down the alien for his paying customers, and he makes complete eye contact with this thing, which is the opposite of what OJ does. When Jupe doesn't realize that he wasn't making eye contact with Gordy because the tablecloth was blocking the eyes.
right.
Okay, here's the thing. I didn't like this part of the story because I think that in real life, making eye contact is exactly what you want to do with a predator.
I've always heard that you don't make eye contact with predators because it can
When
make
Take it as a
them-
challenge.
Yeah.
Okay. So when the predator is like, I'm thinking of like videos that I've seen online of like someone being stalked by a mountain lion.
Yeah.
And they're backing up. Like they have their camera and they're backing up. They're not running away because then you get dead.
Right.
Right? They're like, the way you make a mountain lion back off
Just make yourself bigger.
is you make yourself bigger.
Mm-hmm.
You make yourself loud. Like you don't turn around. Yeah, I mean, backing up is probably a good idea,
Mm-hmm.
but like, no, you show the predator that you are also a predator. Like that's
Right.
So
I think they're
with it-
going more like when a dog is coming at you, a dominant dog, an alpha male.
mm-hmm.
If you make eye contact, they take that as a challenge, and that will make
If
them
it's
more
just
aggressive.
roaming around,
Chimps are the same way.
if it's just roaming around, and you make eye contact with it, yes. If it's coming at you, and you're trying to make it back up, you make eye contact with it. Like you do. So I thought that that's where this was gonna go. Like I thought that OJ was going to break the thing in the sky like they've broken every horse that they've trained.
Mhm.
Right? Break it. You know what I mean?
Submit.
Exactly. Show it that I'm a predator and don't mess with me. And that was going to be like the thing.
Right.
That's not how the movie went, but that's how I thought it was going to go.
Yeah, but remember pretty early on they point out like, horses aren't predators. With predators you can't just train them. So they gave you a text of that to dissuade you
Yeah.
from assuming he was going to be riding that alien by the end of the movie,
Yeah.
which would have been
Well,
hilarious.
Yeah, no, true. But I mean, like, I'm not saying he would be riding the alien. I'm saying that like he would make the alien leave. You know what I mean? I don't know. Something like that. I mean, I guess essentially eventually they do, but I'm like not super thrilled with the ending, but I wouldn't say like that the movie is bad because of the way it ended. But like
I think it suffers from what all his movies suffer from.
what's that?
They are phenomenal ideas. They are executed beautifully. Like the cinematography in this movie is amazing. All his movies, like we didn't even get to the eerie shit that he did with the kids, the prank scene.
Oh my God, the barn.
Oh God,
Ooh.
yeah.
In the stalls.
That
like,
was so good.
Like that is straight out of Us, like creepy as shit. Like that's kind of shit that I thought the whole movie was going to be, and it wasn't. He just doesn't know how to end a movie. Story-wise, I think it gets to me. It gets it's almost like at the end he's got, you know how when you build an IKEA furniture and it looks great on your wall, and then you look over to the side and you have a bag of stuff. You're like, I feel like with him, he still has a lot he wants to say, and there's just not enough movie left, so the end seems kind of rushed or jumbled, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Even with this, it was such a great story, great movie, but it just got to a point where it's like, okay, now that he has to have his crescendo Indiana Jones hero moment, and it's like a Bob's Big Boy balloon gets inhaled by this alien and
I'm
it
really
explodes.
disappointed that that Ghost was taken by the thing, because I really, really, really wanted a chase scene with OJ riding a white Bronco.
Yes.
But it didn't happen.
Yeah, I was waiting for that joke too, and it didn't happen.
It didn't
I was
happen.
Like, come on, where's a Bronco?
But, you know,
So
is what
funny.
it is. If you just exchanged horses, if Lucky went up and Shadow was his...
Even if he was coming, maybe if they had him go to the ranch, you know, the event ranch, and on his way back on the horse, he gets followed by like 6 squad cars
That for some reason
at
that
a
would be
slow
pretty-
pace.
That would be
Jeez.
pretty funny.
So, you know, one
Because they
thing.
clearly they clearly were doing the OJ joke, so we're not being wrong here. Like when that actress goes, "Your name's OJ," like she was like, they were completely making that joke. So it just kind of was not. They didn't push it far enough, so that's fine. I'm fine with it, but it would have been funny.
Who was the weekend? He just passed away recently. The OJ joke guy from Weekend Update,
Norm Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald.
Oh God,
It's a shame that he wasn't alive to be a part of that scene.
Yeah. It would have been good.
It's like,
His name is OJ.
Could you imagine if Norm Macdonald delivered the line,
Yeah.
his name's OJ? Like, that is so funny.
He
So
said it's OJ.
Well, you know, I think what you're
he
identifying.
can't catch his alien because he's too busy doing whatever.
I think what you're identifying, Travis, is, you know, there's a consistency
Killing
within.
his wife.
Allegedly.
That's what I was getting to.
But I think there's something that you've identified a thing, Travis, in Jordan Peele's movies, that he doesn't end it on the text a lot of times. He ends it, like the story for him ends in the subtext more than it does in the text. And
Okay.
so it's one of those things where I think if you watch the movie again after we've talked about it a little bit more, you might feel more satisfied in the ending. You may also just be like, hey, I got all this shit left over. Why is my shelf already done?
Yeah. I think visually I didn't like the crescendo. It was a little corny for me.
But here's
Like
the thing.
her blowing that thing up with a balloon, and then, like, I think the getting the shot was good, and her using the the foreshadowed, when she did the photobomb, like using that stuff was fine. I just thought
I mean, guys,
the
photobomb. Come on. That's pretty good.
The creature, this was my other issue. The creature was more, it's almost like Jaws. The creature was scarier until you saw it in full. Then it almost looked angelic. It looked like the one of the underwater creatures from the abyss. Like it was
Yeah.
almost like beautiful, and to me
It was.
in its full monster form, it had like a Mothra feel, like like an old Godzilla movie. It wasn't. I enjoyed more the mystery of its like cloaking of being a spaceship.
You like the cloud with the
and
bubble?
going in the shadows, like not even the daytime cloud bubble, but at night, the scenes at night when it was like shifting from cloud to cloud, and you just kind of seen it go. Like I enjoyed the mystery of it. In the broad daylight, angelic explode, inhaling with this geometric mouth. Like it just to me was too
Spectacular.
Yeah, it didn't do it for me. It almost looked not spectacular in a good way. Like it was almost like
Yeah, not good. Spectacle. We're back to the
gaudy.
subtext.
It was
again.
like gaudy. It was like a spectacle. It was gaudy.
But
it
it's
was
that
almost like-
thing. It's the subtext
like a
coming
mummer.
back again, where what it's literally presenting itself.
Yeah.
In that final scene with the horse chase, and what it's doing, where it's basically like showing what is essentially an old TV shaped, square, spectacular square. It keeps changing as a way to like maintain eye contact with its prey.
Okay.
It is the spectacle of kind of the deeper meanings of a lot of these things in a way that just sucks you in a literal fashion. And that's why, and we'll get more into that, I think, but it's why the balloon actually, for me, works more than I thought it would, right? Because if you told me big inflated balloon and it eats it and it dies, I'd be like, oh, what about missiles? I like missiles. Why a balloon? But it's because it has a face on it. Now, earlier in the movie,
Yeah.
we have that, we establish that the creature can't distinguish between a real horse and a bait horse, right? The decoy. So again, we know it's not necessarily going to be able to tell the difference between a real human and a decoy human. So when that big boy burger pops up with its face and its eyes locked in the direction of that alien, the alien takes the bait. It makes sense within
Smile,
the
you
closed
son of a
system of the
bitch.
movie.
Why did the balloon explode? And how come the alien didn't just spit it out?
I think just like the indigestion it got from the prey horse and the flags, this thing had 4 times the flags and was a slippery balloon. So it gave it like a super fart from all the indigestion.
That seems unreal.
It's an alien shaped now like the sails of a ship, where previously it was like a disc with a butthole.
It sounds a lot like he had an amazing idea and didn't know how to end it. That's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah.
Well,
Like he didn't want to do the missile thing because it's been done. He didn't want to do the virus thing because it's been done. So it's like, okay, we go along the lines of the face because they had the celebrating wind tube creatures.
Yeah.
So that was
Which
an ongoing
those
thing.
don't make sense either, and those are called wacky inflatable flailing arm tube mans.
Exactly.
Wacky inflatable flailing arm tube man warehouse emporium is probably where they went to get it, but those don't make sense either, because if you're trying to get this thing to come out, we've already established that he doesn't like the flags. Aren't
so these
those
nylon
things
creatures are
aren't those things basically just flags?
well, but isn't
Like
the point?
I would set those things up around my house if I wanted the thing not to come near me.
Well, isn't
Right.
the point of those to help them track where he is?
Yes.
His EMP
point was-
type system is, and also to be, probably a little off, maybe a little extra, like keep away. I don't think they were supposed to be bait, right? They were supposed to be
No.
off-putting to him, but also
They
they were to see where the power was going.
see
out.
where the power's
Okay.
going out.
okay, so okay. You want the thing to come out, but you put a thing out there that's going to be off-putting to it. That doesn't compute. I would have chosen something different other than a wacky inflatable flailing arm tube man. Like, say, a light.
If this was a Bruce Willis movie or a Will Smith movie,
Mm-hmm.
he would have made himself bait and had explosive vest on. And when he got eaten, since it was a slow swallow, slow digest, he would have taken the vest off and crawled out, and then it would have exploded. That would have been the 89 90s version,
Also,
which
that
would have
thing-
sucked.
That thing was huge. And I don't even know if you exploded a bomb vest in its esophagus, if that would even kill it.
That's why you need a photo bomb.
That's why you need about Big Boy.
Yeah. So that was, and it was also really convenient that the TMZ reporter was driving an electric bike.
Yeah.
But also, like, all their cars would shut off too, which I guess is you need the battery to make the spark, so that made sense.
I told you this guy would come out here with a non-electric camera.
But
So good.
I'm
That's
not,
a great line.
I mean, there's a lot of things that don't really compute too. Like, you know, I don't know how the electronics were malfunctioning or shutting off or they were losing power, and I get it, but like the power grid and a battery are two completely different
Mhm.
things. They're literally
You sound like that guy
AC
at Fry's
and DC.
Electronics being like, "Oh, you dumb people, you know your battery doesn't die."
Right.
Aliens.
So like, so like, and I can't really complain too much because aliens.
Is it an alien though?
5 stars,
Well,
Angel. 5 stars.
It could be just a kaiju,
5 stars, Angel. 5 stars.
an
Such a good
undiscovered
line.
creature on this
So
planet.
that was kind of weird too. Like batteries, power grid, like
But do you know what was
They-
consistent with our understanding of aliens?
what's that?
I think that praying mantis was in cahoots with the aliens. I didn't think of it the first time I
Zorak?
watched it, but now
Yeah.
that I know Love and Saucers, I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
the mantis. I get it.
It's- Of course, Zorak popped in my head when I saw that mantis on the camera.
So funny.
Yeah.
I
Didn't
love
we just
the
talk about him?
Well, aren't mantises like octopuses? Like they're probably like extraterrestrial.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love the shiny helmet the TMZ guy wears after you've had the incident with the Mylar balloons. After
Mhm.
after you've had the whatever that lighting check orb thing that set the horse off at the beginning, like this consistency of reflective surfaces setting nature off. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets flipped off the bike, and it's hilarious.
He reminded me of like the old Ed Wood style, like Saucer Man. Like if you watch the old 1940s,
Yeah.
1950s
When
Saucer Man.
When he showed up, I thought the way he appeared had to be an homage to something, but I
Yeah.
didn't know what.
Yeah, if you look at like the old alien invasion movies from the 50s, the creatures in the spacesuits that were like not human, they were just guys in like Mylar suits.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought that was. Because he was even talking weird. He sounded like he was
Yeah.
like from another planet.
So
Yes.
the guy is credited as writer Muybridge or Moybridge. Moybridge, this is from that article on Vox because I didn't know this. Moybridge is the last name of the guy who gets credit for the first guy on a
Motion
horse
picture.
movie.
Hmm.
Not the writer, but the white director of that film who gets credit
Yeah.
for the earliest thing. So it's definitely we're talking about, a lot of things more than just aliens by the time
Mhm.
that guy shows up in the movie.
I enjoyed that little expose that she gives, Emerald.
Yep.
But I thought it was in the wrong place. Like, I know Jordan Peele wanted to give that little tidbit of information that without the black jockey, we might not have motion pictures.
Right.
But I think it kind of felt forced as she told it. It would have been a better thing to kind of be in a scene where they're maybe sitting around talking about their dad and the history of the ranch and
Well,
stuff. Like
even-
the information's good, but I think the scene that they exposed it was already chock full of other shit going on.
It's weird that they opened up the safety meeting with it.
Right.
Right.
Well, it was her pitch. It's like her go-to pitch.
Right. and it was Pop's go-to pitch too, because
Right.
You hear it
You
in
hear-
the video.
you hear it in the video, and I think that I don't know. I mean, I
It's
think
necessary,
it-
but I
it-
think,
it
in the
was
spot where it was, I didn't
yeah,
like it.
the spot where it was, I think it was kind of purposeful, because without Pop, this definitely is different, and it's not working.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, they also
So-
wanted to do that prodigal son thing, where it's like she clearly, the dynamic between the two of them is kind of like most families. You know, you have the kid who stays home, maybe takes over the family business, and then
Yeah.
you have the other kids that kind of go off and, I want to go to New York, I want to go to California, I want to be an actor, I want to do this. So, but then something always calls them home, whether it's a funeral or somebody's sick or they run out of money or whatever it is, and they come home. And that's what she was. She didn't want to be connected to that history other than the performance of it. Like, she was not feeling it the way,
yeah, she
her
said
dad
it straight
probably
up.
felt
This,
it.
This is my side.
right,
job.
this is my hustle.
Yeah.
And there's other things I want to do, as opposed to you, who you took over dad's business because you had to.
Right.
And that dynamic through the whole movie was great. And I felt her flip it kind of attitude when she showed up late and then gives that speech that she's not feeling, even though she should, because it's her lineage.
Yes.
That was well done. But I just felt like the information she was giving would have been heavier and more heard if it wasn't in that scene, because there was also
I think it
so
was.
many things
I think it was
going
on purpose. It didn't fit there, and I think that was purposeful, because when you hear the father say it later on, I think it was a commercial or TV, some kind of video.
Mhm.
You hear the audio of him giving the exact same
It's
pitch,
more heartfelt.
and you hear how it's supposed to sound like in a setting where it's appropriate.
Right.
And it's juxtaposing those two things of what this ranch was and what this ranch is without Pop.
Right.
It's not working.
Well,
You
and
know what I mean?
there's a certain Emerald has a certain amount of ambition for fame that you don't get with OJ at all.
Right.
No.
And that, I think, when you talk about the subtextual ending of this movie, looking past the big boy balloon and the exploding photobomb, and you get to what is
Out yonder.
essentially the brother saving the sister not only from the alien but from herself and her own inclination toward this kind of darkness that, without him being able to literally pull the alien away, she's dead. But in the greater scheme of what the movie's trying to say, he pulls her away from the same dangers that kill Jupe.
Right. That greed. And,
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a guy on Twitter, and I want to believe that he is related to Frank Mancuso, who made the Jason movies, but I don't think he is. But I'm going to pretend he is just for a moment. His name is Vinny Mancuso. He is on Twitter as Vinny Mancuso1. And he posted this a while back in December. And to talk about the subtext of this movie, we could go on for another hour, or I could read you 2 sarcastic tweets.
I'll take the sarcastic tweets, please.
So this is quoting Vinny Mancuso on Twitter.
Who might be related to Jason Voorhees.
I wish he was related to the family that made the Jason movies. So in asterisks, he says, watches Nope, the movie about a giant monster whose core looks like a camera that hangs over Hollywood and quite literally chews people up and then spits them back out. And then in the asterisks, and then separately he says, is this movie even about anything? And he follows that tweet. I fucking love this guy. This is how you make fucking tweets, guys. Again, back to the asterisks. Watches the arc of Jupe, a man who barely survived child acting, but feels the allure of fame so strongly that he makes the same irresponsible mistake that the adults around him did as a child, with the same disastrous, bloody consequences. The cycle continues. Close out the asterisks. Why was that in the movie? Oh my god. But then he follows that with guys, Nope is a masterpiece. Which I agree with. I'm all about that. And then his last one in this chain. Watches Keke Palmer feed the Hollywood beast a 20-foot tall cowboy effigy until it explodes. And when the dust settles, what's left is a black man on a horse, framed like a Western hero.
Mm-hmm.
Dudes. I mean, that's the thing about the ending, right? He's in. I think you're just gonna have to remember with Jordan Peele movies that he's not gonna go for the perfect visual Hollywood ending. He's gonna give you the ending he needs to make his point.
Honestly, hearing that makes a lot more. That whole analogy of Hollywood is it's spot on, and that makes a lot of sense now. The chews them up, spits them out, like all that is exactly probably what this movie's about.
Yeah.
And that's
Kinda like
why
what we were talking about during Edward Scissorhands with
And
Tim Burton.
and what's his name? And OJ looking like a Western hero at the end is foreshadowed by the pitch.
Yep.
The 2 seconds of the guy, the black jockey on a horse.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when I was saying just a minute ago, Emerald being pulled back from the allure of fame, it's like it's more than he just saved her from the alien, but it's like a good brother keeping her away from Hollywood.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I love this movie now. Yes.
So
I thought you would. I thought this is the movie that once Travis hones in on this Hollywood chew 'em up, spit 'em out thing, I thought that was the way in for you. So welcome. Watch it again. It's fucking good. Second watch is just as good. Because now that you've got that in your mind, you can see all the times leading up to it that the use of the word spectacle is a pejorative. You know?
Right.
That's why I jokingly said spectacular earlier, because it's literally fucked up spectacle. You can't turn the shoe is vertical, but we can't stop looking at the monkey eating the lady's face.
Right.
I never stopped looking at the shoe.
Can we talk about the freaking stall scene?
Oh my god.
Because that affected me.
Actually, like, can I tell you something? Just a little thing about the shoe first.
Okay.
Because when I was watching it, because there's a couple of flashbacks to the scene with the monkey, and
It's an ape, but yeah.
the chimp. So, and the first time I saw the shoe, and I was like, that's odd. And that's what made me think there's like a connection between something being present, like something extraterrestrial being present that is making the monkey go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And the shoe is standing up. So I'm like, okay, so the shoe is standing up is like symbolizing there's something else going on here, right? And then when they do the longer version where you actually get the monkey approaching Jupe under the table, the shoe is in the background the entire time.
Yep.
And you can see it
Mhm.
clearly. And the monkey is approaching, and I'm staring at the shoe. I'm waiting for literally the shoe to drop.
Right.
And the monkey to go back to being its regular, normal monkey self. Right?
Right.
And they don't give you that because
they give you a headshot.
they give you the headshot.
Shoot
Right.
that monkey. I mean, it's a
But
chimp, right?
after the headshot,
These are
after the
not
headshot-
interchangeable terms, but we are going to use them as such for.
yeah.
What's that?
But after the headshot, you don't see the shoe.
Right.
You don't see it still standing up. You don't see it down. It's just left open. There's no. You don't see it. So when you say like there's this, when Dan says that the spectacle is the shoe, but you can't stop looking at the monkey, I never stopped looking at the shoe. So maybe that says something about me.
That's interesting.
See, I was looking around that whole scene because the audio of it is enough. Like, you don't even have to watch what's going on. You can just hear it.
Yeah.
The sound design in this movie is ridiculous.
So good.
But that's when I caught the applause sign. That's when I like all these different things that and the Mylar balloon that looked like a skull. Like all those things, I started looking around. I'm like, all right, is there a lot of symbolism? What's going on in this scene?
Yeah.
Because I know the movie's about aliens. What the hell is this scene. It obviously means something, which later on we find out it's setting up the Jupe character and turning him into what he is. And now that Dan said that part, it makes it even more sense. The whole child actor, like all that stuff
the
is
cycle
just,
continuing
the cycle is
and all
ridiculous, and that's
that.
brilliant. It still doesn't get me past the Bob's Big Boy, but it's still brilliant.
Photo
But-
bomb.
Photo bomb. But yeah, that I'm gonna watch that scene probably about 10 more times just to see what else is in there.
Yeah. Speaking of
'Cause
scenes
again-
that we need to rewatch, the barn or the stables. Yeah.
Dude, when that light came back on, I was like, what the and then then OJ reaches down to pull out his cell phone, come
Mhm.
to find out. I 100% thought he had a sidearm
Right.
and he was going to shoot whatever that was. Right? And I'm like, well, it can't be his sister. She's asleep on the couch. Like, and I'm trying, and I'm going through this. Was that done purposely? But like, is it a commentary on? I might be digging pretty deep and grasping at
What, like-
straws here, but the you know,
Public grabbing a phone instead of
no
protection?
No, I'm thinking of what is the guy grabbing for? I'm thinking about the relationship between black people and the police.
Yeah.
Is what I'm thinking. of.
I think that's probably I think that is probably a thing that is supposed to be mined out of that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Do you get what I'm saying, Trav? Like
I'd
he
have to watch
reaches
it again.
down,
I was
he
so
reaches down
caught
to
up
his
in the-
side, to his pocket, and I'm thinking he's gonna pull out a gun,
Right.
which is what, you know,
To be fair, that's what
A-
you
a-
would
a
want to do
police
in
officer-
that situation. You as
exactly. That's what I would. Yeah,
George
100%.
in the barn would want to pull out a gun.
Absolutely,
I
100%.
think everybody would want to pull out a gun. Those things are freaking crazy.
But what I'm getting at is like when a black suspect reaches down into their pocket to pull out whatever, their wallet, their ID, their keys, whatever, and the police get scared and shoot him by accident.
Mhm.
Like I think that's like what he's doing there is showing you that.
No, I hear you, but I would never have associated that because I wouldn't look at OJ as the suspect in anything.
Me
Like,
neither.
He's the authoritative
Me
figure.
neither.
He's the
But that's why it's even more effective
Right.
because he has no reason. You have no reason to think that he's going to pull out a gun, but you think he is in that
I
moment.
never thought that.
I did.
Yeah, I didn't even notice.
100%.
I was more or less so creeped out by the Gray's aliens coming at him, the way they were twitching, and there was one, then there was two.
There's
No,
like
no,
a
no,
low
no.
fidelity quality to that scene too with the
Yeah, they're,
darkness.
like,
Everything
jerky.
seems jerky and fuzzy and out of focus and whoa.
And then when he backs up, when you're the scene you're talking about, I wasn't even looking at him. I was looking at that corner of the fence because I knew something was going to whip around the side there. And when it poked its head out, that's when he pulls his cell phone out, and then you see the head poke out, like on his phone, which was to me the commentary
Yes.
I was watching was our society. Like you could go to you can go to a concert. Like a friend of mine just posted Tiger Woods hitting a ball at a golf event. Everybody in the crowd, instead of just watching Tiger Woods, they're all there with their cell phones and they're recording instead of just putting their phone down and living the moment.
They're watching life through
Through the
their
phone.
phone screen.
Right. So that's how I took it.
Mind blown.
So when he pulled his cell phone out, it's happening right in front of him.
Yeah.
And he pulls his cell phone out because they were so obsessed with proof. They wanted proof.
Yeah.
And half the movie's about them basically justifying their existence by proving that these things exist. He pulls his cell phone out and starts recording, and that's when you see the alien's head pop around the corner of the fence post.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's what's good about art, because everybody's interpreting it differently. You're seeing commentary one way, I'm seeing commentary another. I never even thought gun.
Well, and you're both
Which
it's in there, right? Like the tapestry that is
Yeah.
this movie.
We're both right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's a
It's
rich
brilliant.
rich movie, man.
But those things are jerky, and the noise they made, It's like almost like the Predator click, like kind of noise, and it's like, and then the one pops his head down, he right hooks it, and then you realize it's a kid. But it's like the fact that the kids did this, then you realize who their parents are. It's like it's all a show. It's all just, I don't know. I was just freaked out by that because it reminded me of the only scene in well, there's two scenes in Signs that creep me out. The shadow figure on the roof of the house, which is a lot like those figures in the stable, and obviously the Zapruder film Bigfoot walk across between the bushes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they obviously were.
Honestly, there's a lot of signs in this movie too. Like,
oh yeah,
like at the
swing away
at the
end?
very end when they're trying to figure out how they're gonna get this thing on film, and they're going through like, I don't know where it's like, oh well, the now I'm trying to find symbolism and everything. It's like, well, he's not gonna be eating flags again because that really fucked them up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, how do you know? How do you know it's that smart?
Right.
Like, like maybe it's like a fish. Like a fish will swallow, will eat a worm on a hook 10 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
I don't think intelligence was really the point. Like, I think with the Gordy stuff and this creature, they were more or less just saying instinct, animal instinct.
Right. So what I'm trying to get at kind of is like, I don't know. But anyways, back to Signs. Like, there was a couple of things that they like learned about this creature that they're all putting together all at once to come up with their plan to film it.
Like drinking water will kill
it. And I don't know. It seemed really signsy. Like not looking at it in the eye, and the flags. And
do you remember The Simpsons? Did either of you watch The Simpsons?
No, I never watched a lot of Simpsons.
There's a fantastic Halloween episode from pretty early in the run where all the advertisements come to life. So like the Pep Boys mascots and the giant lard lad donut guy, all the statues come to life and start attacking the people of Springfield. Yeah, the advertisements.
Advertisements.
And so Paul Anka combines forces with Lisa and writes a little song about how you should just don't look. Just don't look at these advertisements and they'll go away because they're advertisements, right? So if they stop being effective, they'll eventually go away. And so that's the whole just don't look. And it's a little bit of that in this.
Yeah.
Do you think that Jordan Peele wanted to name this movie Don't Look Up, but he couldn't because that other movie had come out about, I think it was a 9/11 movie?
The timing between the two is pretty funny. It's one of those weird things where, yeah, you could call this Don't Look Up. That'd be pretty funny. Kind of a spoiler for the end of the movie, but...
Yeah. Or No Eye Contact. It just has the same feel of, what's the movie with the creatures, Emily Blunt? Where...
the silent one?
Yeah, where you have to be quiet.
Yeah, A Quiet Place.
Quiet Place.
Quiet Place. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good shit, too.
I do think it's funny, too, talking about timing of this movie. Fry's Electronics went out of business in 2021, so, like, they didn't even make it to the movie premiere, as far as I can tell, date-wise. That's funny.
Oof.
5 stars, Angel. Last thing that I've got here, guys, and we're going to circle back to the beginning of the movie again, now that we've had our Hollywood conversation. I'm not a big Bible guy. Do either of you know the book of Nahum, like the back of your hand?
No. Not by the back of my hand, no.
No, I don't. I'm not even sure that that's from the Bible.
I thought
I've never even heard of that book.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was like from the Quran.
Yeah.
So
because that's not a Bible.
Can you
verse.
Google that? Is that the Bible?
It's the 7th book of the 12 minor prophets of the Hebrew Bible.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to read that quote to you again.
So it's for Old Testament stuff.
So Nahum,
it's Old Testament, but are all of those 12 books in like I want to call it the New Bible, but like, are they all in the Old Testament of the New Bible? Like the Bible that we know?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I'm not a Bible guy.
I don't
Do you have
read
your
a lot of
Bible
the Old
near
Testament.
you? Whip that thing open. Look for
No,
Book
not
of Nahum.
not in arm's
We
reach. No.
Christians like to read the New Testament because that's that's the
Oh no, I mean I like the whole thing.
the Old
honestly.
Testament's a little dreary.
Well, and that's
Well-
this. Okay, so according to BibleGateway.com, the King
boy.
James Bible does have the Book of Nahum. So,
What about the American Bible?
I don't know, man. So anyway, Book of Nahum. I'm not that familiar with it, but let me read the quote to you again. Quote: "I will cast abominable filth upon you, make you vile, and make you a spectacle." Now, from what I've read, the Book of Nahum in this part is referring to the city of Nineveh, which was in Assyria, and essentially it's a prophecy of doom for this city that's rejected God.
I'm familiar with Nineveh.
Yes, I know about that.
So then, taking into account what this movie is saying about the Hollywood experience, it's very interesting. It's a hell of a movie, guys.
It is.
Hell of a movie.
I originally did not like it.
Do you like it now?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
What do
no,
you think,
I
George?
liked it, but I felt unfulfilled. So now that I'm getting a lot of the subtext you're talking about, it deserves a second, third, and fourth watch.
I think when I first watched it, I would have given it a 7.5 out of 10,
Okay.
or maybe even an 8, because I didn't like the ending, and I didn't like a lot of the things that kind of like that he needed in order to make the ending work, and it's just kind of like I would have went about the third act a completely different way. So I would have, but everything else in the movie was fantastic.
Right.
The acting was great, the cinematography, the sound, everything. Masterpiece.
Mhm.
Now that Dan has made sense of it more, and I'm after talking with you guys, there's lots more to it, a lot of symbology there.
Symbology?
Yeah, that's from Boondock Saints.
Gotcha.
I think it's gone up to a solid 9.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Better than Close Encounters?
It's a hell of a movie. For a modern movie, I don't think you can compare them because a lot has happened since Spielberg did it, and this movie is less about aliens and more about saying something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Making a statement. So I think they're two different movies.
Although, I mean, Close Encounters had the same commentary just from a different point of view. It was basically people versus government.
Yeah, it's a different. I think they're two completely different
Okay.
movies, and they shouldn't be compared.
All right.
I like them both.
But you see why we made you watch them back to back.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah, 100%.
dude, Keke Palmer and Daniel Kaluuya, I've seen them in a
They
bunch
were
of stuff now.
awesome.
Every time I see them in stuff, they're playing such vastly cooler, different characters. I don't know if they get
Which-
enough credit for that. The main
which
two, OJ
characters
and
were-
Emerald.
That was OJ and Emerald.
Okay.
OJ's in all kinds of stuff. In every role he takes, he is a completely different dude, right?
He's in Get Out, and he's in. I don't know if he's in Us.
He's
but I
in
know
Black
Get Out.
Panther.
He's in Black Panther.
Unrecognizable in his performance. Like, he's just so good. And he's got a good Hot Ones, too, if you like the silly show, Hot Ones. Just cool dude. And I'm glad that he was in this movie because I thought he carried it.
He killed it.
With a photobomb.
I liked his. I loved his subtleness. Like he kind of pulled off that. I don't want to. How do I say it without sounding like I'm demeaning that profession? But he reminded me of like a small town gas station like owner. Like the guy you bring him your car and he knows everything, but he just doesn't want small talk. Like he just doesn't want to talk to you, but he's just gonna fix your shit and it's gonna be perfect. Like he just, I don't know, that to me just came off as like a person who knows his shit, but he doesn't know how to really convey.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to have a conversation.
I felt like his a couple of things about his personality or his character. He's I think he's very high intelligence because of the Dunning-Kruger effect, which works both ways. For the listeners that don't know, Dunning-Kruger is the inability of a low competence person to recognize their incompetence. So, and it works both ways. So the highly competent people underrate their competence,
Right,
compared to everyone else. So
well,
I think
he also lacked confidence too, which was
right. So I think he's very smart and he's very competent, and because he falls into that very smart, very competent category, he rates his competence lower than it actually is.
Right.
So that has a lot to do with his, like, looking at the floor when he's trying to give the pitch, and just, and also his not being surprised by anything was another thing that hit me, because I'm kind of like that. Like, things that get people all excited and up in arms and upset and stuff like that. It just, for me, I'm just like, I'm not surprised.
Right.
Like, that's just how I am.
There's a giant stingray flying around my farm eating my horses. What do I need to do?
Yeah, and when when he's when he's in that truck and the thing is hovering over him,
Bleeding all over the place.
and he's just like,
That's awesome.
he's just like, kind of, I don't want to say like accepted his fate, but like, he's like, there's nothing I can do, so I'm gonna do nothing. And that is
Until he realizes he can signal them to come to the car.
right. So it's, he's, I just say, highly competent and has the personality of a highly competent person. And he's just not surprised by anything. And just, maybe he's gotten burned by getting excited about stuff before,
Plus, he's
just
the balance, because he's the complete opposite
Like-
of her.
like to give
she's
you
shut out of
a
the
for
cannon.
instance, like in my life, if I get a new job, I don't tell anyone. I'll give my employer 2 weeks notice. I mean, this is like real life. Give my employer my 2 weeks notice, and I don't tell anyone except for my wife that I'm starting a new job until the day I start the new job.
Mhm.
Because like, if it didn't if it just like fell through, it wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
Like that's how he acts. Like, just kind of, I don't want to say like negative, but just, ready for anything, but not excited by anything.
Okay.
Ready to be disappointed. Maybe that's a Philly thing.
It's the opposite of my son, who I tell all the time, you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah.
He sees the
Very high,
high expectations,
yeah.
low results. I'm just like, dude, I never got excited about it because I knew it wasn't going to happen. Yeah, hell of a movie.
And just as good on the second and third watch. I'll probably watch it pretty frequently here for a while. Because, man, it still gives me the heebie-jeebies. Those couple of scary scenes don't get less scary on repeat viewings. They're just so well done.
Well, I think that I think I said that. Like, to me, it felt like two different movies. It was so creepy visually, like the ambiance of the horses, hearing them basically being digested from the air, and like just all the dark scenes, the night scenes were just really eerie. But then when you get towards the end, it's like bright out, it's beautiful, it's sunny. You have this angelic creature flying around. It just felt like two different movies. So very Jordan Peele, and then all of a sudden it just becomes like a regular popcorn film for about 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is just like horror in daylight, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And under
Yeah.
the hot studio lights, right, that blow up that Mylar balloon.
Mhm.
The most horrific scene in this movie, the two most horrific scenes in this movie, barring the
That's right.
alien, happen in broad daylight,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah, the chimpanzee
ballsy.
stuff is all just really brightly lit. It's like American Werewolf, like that transformation scene. Like,
Yeah.
just-
Yeah. Ballsy.
right in
Yeah.
front of you.
Mm.
So good.
Well, I think we covered this movie pretty well.
Yeah. Now, what are we watching next?
Yeah.
What are we watching next?
Well, and it's a very interesting question because as our regular listeners have noticed, we kind of circled the wagons there for a little bit and took us a long time to get this episode out. Now, we haven't really figured out a schedule for when we'll return to our regular releases. Everything's a little crazy these days as we continue our spring hiatus, but we didn't want to wait any longer because I think we all agreed that the Nope episode deserved to be heard as soon as possible. You can tell from the F-22 shooting down a balloon reference how long it took us to get this sucker edited and out to you fine people. So I don't really know what our next movie is, and it will be a little while, probably, before we figure that out ourselves. So, for now, keep an eye on the feed for any updates, and jump back. Listen to a couple of classics. Listen to RoboCop again. Listen to Psycho. Listen to George so early in his development, and then come back, listen to the more recent stuff, and listen to how much he's grown, guys. We're doing the Lord's work, or at least we're doing the work that any older brother should do and should have done for George 30 years ago. So for now, we'll see you when we see you. Thank you for listening to the Remedial Film Class Podcast. As always, you can find us at facebook.com/remedialfilmpod. Feel free to drop us an email, remedialfilmpod@gmail.com. Let us know how you're doing. And we'll be back soon.